Welcome back to Bits Be Trippin'. This is your host Carter. Let's get into this. On tonight's episode, we are going to cover a quick and easy 4-card case build, targeted for the folks that have limited space, thermal capacity, and power requirements in their studio or a loft apartment. The task was simple: a smaller footprint, and keep the power requirements as close to 500 to 650 watts as possible, essentially half of a 15 amp connection, while maximizing the hash power out of cards that would fit within this small case. So the team got together and shifted our standard case design to be a little taller, yet reduce the total size by nearly 60% regarding the footprint on a shelf. The total dimensions of 10 by 12 by 16 inches high provided really 3 key areas to the case: the PSU, motherboard, and GPU area. The lower portion of the case houses the PSU, with a total space of about 10 by 12 by 5 inches. The mid layer houses the motherboard and supports a mid-size up to a mid-size board. The final layer is where the GPUs rest. Set up with enough room to squeeze 4 cards in place, the build was designed for mid to small size to mini cards only, as larger RX570s and 480s would not fit. For better cooling, you could drop to 3 cards and go with a lighter, higher end version of mid-size cards, such as a mini GTX 1070. You would just be limited to your PSU's ability. Now, as for basic construction, we are using angled aluminum, or aluminium, as our friends across the pond say, in 1/16 by 1 inch size. Now you can buy this at your typical hardware store in 6 foot, 8 foot, or sometimes 12 foot sections. For this build, we used 4 10-inch sections for the length. We used 6 12-inch sections for the width, and then we used 4 16-inch sections for the height. Now in the wood sections, for the PSU layer, we used 2 sections of 1 by 3 inch pine that were 10 inches long, 3 sections set long ways for the motherboard that were 12 inches in length, and then 1 additional 10-inch section of pine lowered 4 inches down from the top to accommodate the GPU's pressure set, wherein the GPU, once screwed down, the lower section of the GPU interface plate rests up against it, which is effectively would be a wood stop. The self-drilling screws do most of the hard work, as we see it here seamlessly cutting through and bonding the connecting aluminum pieces. A total of about 42 screws were used in this build. Yes, you could use less, but we go for the solid construction that allows you to move the rig around and have a very sturdy construction, especially if you're transporting it, and it causes it not to be such an event. Now that we've seen the construction, let's take a look at the stats of this machine. This motherboard, CPU, and PSU is pulled from an existing gaming rig that we had. Considering most of our mining rigs are 6 to 9 card machines, we wanted to leverage a motherboard that had up to the right amount of PCI slots, yet beefy enough, or if a new cryptocurrency comes out that requires CPU mining only, the 8-core AMD would make good work of those coins coming out and provide a quick platform for Windows when coupled with a 120 gig SSD. Wrapping up this build, the 8 gigs of Kingston HyperX memory and the 850 watt PSU provided more than enough power for this build. Moving to the critical portion of the build, the graphics cards. We decided to split between RX570s and RX460s to help keep the build cheap and low on the power requirements. In addition, the heat generated by the cards is much more manageable. However, as most of our builds, we recommend keeping an external fan on or near the cards to maintain the temperatures and not burn out the internal fan on the graphics cards. Graphics cards taxing their internal fans at 100% will last anywhere from 5 months to 9 months depending on the manufacturer. Now, we've had some last a little longer, but we still highly recommend getting an external fan. Now, as for performance, all of these cards had their BIOSes updated and were modified effectively with their timing straps, and of course, we will be including the original and the modified versions in the description of this video. First, starting with the pair of XFX RX570 4 gigs. Now, these are the basic models that you can get from a retail store such as Best Buy. The exact models included in the description, just in case if you wanted to pick up this exact card. Now, the BIOS with this one has the memory already set, as we found a pretty good stable set, roughly holding 1900 megahertz. However, we do software adjust the GPU clocks on this one down to 1165, while reducing the power requirement by 20% and applying a small undervolt using Sapphire TRIXX. Much of the same story with both the RX460. The timing straps were updated and completed with the BIOSes that are attached in the description. But we did do software, GPU, and memory changes with Sapphire TRIXX, dropping the GPU down to 1100 and the memory up to 1850 from its stock of 1750. In addition, we did a 10% power reduction and a small undervolt on this. The net result was a mid 600 power usage for 81 megahash. Not the best that we've done, but well within the PSU limits of 850. The power is a little higher than normal due to the 155 watt average idle power usage due to the FX 8350 8-core and a non-standard non-gold PSU. Switching to a 7th gen Intel board with a proper new motherboard 1151 socket and a platinum 750 watt PSU, you would see power right around 490 on this build. Now we hope that you like this build, and of course we got a lot more coming up. As you can see here, we started with the TB250 and have some of the video recorded for the motherboard walkthrough. In addition, we plan doing a really good NVIDIA wrap-up video. This will be very pointed and we'll try to keep it under 10 minutes, but essentially the state of mining with the entire NVIDIA platform. GTX 1050 Ti, GTX 1063 gig, GTX 1066 gig, GTX 1078 gig, GTX 1088 gig, and then finally the GTX 1080 Ti 11 gig, which should give you a comprehensive look at the various platforms and various coin outputs from the NVIDIA offerings, both from output and power usage. This will finally leave us with our next live stream on Saturday late afternoon, targeting 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We should have a few cool builds to show you, so you'll definitely want to check us out there. Additionally, the live streams allow you to ask questions, and we try to get them answered on the show. Now, as always, please like, subscribe, and if you're doing any Amazon purchases, do us a solid and hit one of our links below. That helps us if you're already doing some purchasing and don't have anything to donate. Remember, we take those super chats, donations, and pay it right back to you guys with sourcing support for the channel production, editing, and future projects. You can hit those links in the description or check us out at bitsbetrippin.com. There are links there and on-hand internet inventory of many graphics cards. In addition, we have an e-store there. Now, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll have another video out for you tomorrow. Catch you later.